for mental health professionals. And who else than our dear Dr. Prasanta Kumar Roy, because he's been, helping us for a long time in times of our crisis as well. And a little bit about him. Uh, Dr. Prasanta Kumar Roy, he's an eminent clinical psychologist, head of the Department of Clinical Psychology, Institute of Psychiatry, Kolkata. He has done his MPhil in clinical psychology from Central Institute of Psychiatry, Jharkhand, and his PhD from University of Calcutta. His interest areas of work are stress management, trauma management, disaster management, psychotherapy, and hypnotherapy. He has more than 25 publications in national and international journals. His active contribution in areas related to trauma and disaster management is an inspiration to all aspiring psychologists. I will not talk much. I think it's better if I hand the session over to Dr. Prasanta Kumar Roy and let him speak on these issues which are prevalent at this times. Thank you.
Thank you, Bimal sir and Madam Jilli, for considering me for this issue. This is one of my favorite issues, but I don't know how to proceed. You need to guide me to whether you want to have more interactive one or more of a lecture one, or initially I will speak about something, the basic concepts, and then we'll interact more on the personal issues, how we want to proceed. Accordingly, I can decide.
Right. Okay. So if we could start off with the general issues, like, then we can go on to more interactive sessions.
Okay. Thank you. And then I'll start with the presentation that I have thought about. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whether the screen is visible?
We have started screen sharing. It's not yet visible, but it's connecting, I think.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see.
Some problem with the screen sharing.
Sir, you can go slide mode. It will work. Then you go one by one slide.
Yeah, it is the slide mode is not going. That is the problem.
Okay, maybe it's taking time because net connection.
Yeah.
All that. Will come slowly. This is also in a crisis, I guess.
Yeah. It is not visible?
We can see it, sir.
Okay. So as we are in a very difficult situation, probably a lifetime situation, and we are going to the part of the history to teach the future generation like what kind of pandemic experience we had and how we tried our best to cope up with this kind of situation. And let us see what are the things that we can learn from this lifetime experience, and very where the survival crisis is a issue. So on this conversation on psychological crisis management, if you can see this picture, this is near Gangotri, Uttarakhand. It is around 15 kilometers uphill from Gangotri. It is around at 15,000 feet height, near to Kedar Tal.
So we can't see the slide.
You can't see? None of you?
Yes, sir. Yes, no, now we can see. Yes, yes. Okay. No, we can see it now. It's coming. Okay. Yeah.
It's move slowly. So when we were there at that 15,000 feet height, there was no snow. In the evening, the snowfall started. It was around 2 feet of snow. within couple of hours. See, when we are any kind of difficult situation, difficult situation may come at any time. But the thing that help us to survive in any kind of difficult situation is keeping each other safe. Where we need to take care of each of the members. If any one member is becoming sick, so we need to be more careful towards who are already having some kind of issues, for example, cardio issues, having diabetes issues. So we need to keep each other safe and we need to keep connected. Uh, We need to ask them again and again whether you're feeling okay, whether you're feeling too cold or not. So this connectedness is everyone's responsibility.
Okay, we seem to.
Yeah, I'm back again.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
visible,
Yes, sir. Yes.
audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So in this COVID-19 situation, also keeping each other safe and maintaining the connectivity is each of us responsibility. I'm not very much happy with the term the social distancing that is being used again and again. Rather, this is the time to maintain closeness, social closeness, rather than distancing. Rather, physical distancing would have been more appropriate for me, not the social distancing.
Right,
Socially, we
right.
need to be more connected. So, with this, why we need to uh, take care of each other? Because when we are part of the solution, we are no more part of the problem. That means if you are not part of the solution, if you are not trying to help others, we actually going to suffer more. So to start with, there are some the basic issues that we need to understand when you talk about any kind of disaster. Yes, pandemic is a disaster situation, a global disaster. So there are some terminology that is hazard, risk, exposure, vulnerability, resilience, and recovery. We need to understand this terminology, and I'll explain this terminology one by one. To start with hazard. Hazard is any substance, phenomena, or situation which has the potential to cause disruption or damage to people, their property, their services, and their environment. So if you consider this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, this is also a kind of situation that is causing disruption to the people, causing death, economic crisis. Many people are losing their job and also having a lot of impact on the either positive or negative impact on the environment. So it can be classified into various categories. The natural disaster, we know, the earthquake, the biological disaster. COVID-19 is a biological disaster. It's infection. Technological disaster also can be there. Societal disaster. The COVID-19 is not only biological. There is the secondary disaster, secondary trauma issue related to the societal factors like many people are losing their job, the migrant laborers issue, some of the other social factors we'll be discussing. Yeah. So if you look at this model, if this model is visible, look at the mountain and there is a rock on the top. Okay. So this mountain and the rock, this rock actually is the potential hazard that can fall anytime on the ground. And if you go down, you will find there are two types of building. On the left hand side, that is near to the mountain, there is a two-storied the concrete building, And on the right hand side, there is a kacha building that is not that much reinforced. See, if you look at the potential hazard of the rock falling, obviously the building that is nearby, that is having the high exposure. The rock will fall immediately on the building. But the second building, the no reinforcement building, is having the low exposure. But when you think about the vulnerability issue, though the first building is having high exposure, but because of this concrete structure, the reinforced structure, this building is less vulnerable than the other one. So the kacha building is having high vulnerability in terms of consequences of the rock falling than the pakka building that is having. So when you talk about the risk includes not only the kind of hazard or exposure. For example, here the kind of hazard is the viral infection is a kind of hazard. But who are more vulnerable? See, medical professionals having high exposure. Non-medical professionals are having relatively less exposure. That can be there, but who are more vulnerable? Hmm. When it is going to cost a lot, economic cost, social cost, cultural cost, lot of cost, and when it goes beyond the control of our capacity, then it causes a disaster. So from COVID-19 perspective, there is that this is a disaster because there are a lot of elements of risk. So when we talk about the disaster risk, as we discussed, hazard, exposure, and vulnerability, these are three important issues. However, another important issue that we need to consider is the capacity and measures. How much capacity do I have? For example, now we are talking about USA and India. India till today is in a better state than USA in terms of infection, in terms of death. Uh, Probably there is better capacity in our India than the USA. What kind of a capacity? For example, here health system is still under the government. Private organizations in the health system, they are quitting. They are not ready to take that much of responsibility. But even USA, the entire health system in the hand of the insurance company, where the government is having minimum responsibility. So a lot of these issues, the capacity and measures, and the kind of collective society that we are having. So that is also a kind of positive capacity than the many of the individualistic, individual cultural aspect. So all these issues that we need to focus. Now, if we look at this diagram, on one side, there can be exposure and hazard, but it depends on whether I am less vulnerable or having better coping capacity, or I am more vulnerable and there is a lack of coping capacity. These two issues are important. We don't have anything to see about COVID-19. That is not in our hand. Whether I'll be exposed or not, that is also not much in my hand. But I can look for whether I am vulnerable and how much resources, how much resilience that I am having. The coping capacity is the resilience. The vulnerability issue can be developmental deprivation. For example, the poor people who are having a lot of developmental deprivation, disabled people who are having a lot of developmental deprivation, aid dependence. If I am taking too much of help from others, inequality, that is also another factor. Like today, India can spend crores to bring people from outside India. But here, India cannot spend much to bring the migrant laborers from other state to their respective villages or the towns. So there is an inequality. If there is any pre-existing disease, now we know that people who are having with other physical illnesses, including diabetes, cardiovascular disease, they are at higher risk, renal failure. Lifestyle issues, people who smoke frequently, they are more vulnerable. Uprooted, who don't have their home, or if their shops are being closed, so and if there is a loss in the family, loss of job, so all those issues makes a person more vulnerable. With these in mind about the concept of vulnerability, exposure, hazard, and the capacity, now is specific to COVID-19, we need to see who are the persons that can be impacted strongly by this outbreak. And these are responders to COVID-19 who have got the infection, they who have taken quarantine due to high risk. Third, the older people. Fourth is people with chronic diseases having higher risk of COVID-19, physical diseases, people with pre-existing mental health problems. See, they are unable to follow up with doctors. They are unable to get the psychiatric medicines. As a result, there is a high chance of relapse. Doctors and other healthcare providers who are directly helping those with COVID-19, high exposure. Police and sanitary staff, they are also having high exposure. Those with substance use problem, they are having high vulnerability, and the caregivers of COVID-19, caregivers. So these are the people we need to consider more. And when I'm also considering myself, I need to assess whether I belong to this. If I don't belong to this, probably my vulnerability is relatively less than this group of people. So whenever we are panicking too much, whether I am going to die, I am going to die, I am going to die, we need to see whether I belong to this or not. And there are some common emotional and behavioral reactions associated with any kind of disaster, and that is also common for the COVID-19 or coronavirus issues. In the emotional reactions, we'll find that feeling stressed or overwhelmed, feeling anxious or worried, what will happen, racing thoughts about your own health or your loved one, sadness, low mood, frustration, irritability, difficulty concentrating, troubling in relaxing, worsening of ongoing mental health problems. These are the common emotional reactions that we can have. There are some physical reactions also, like increased heart rate, restlessness or agitation, stomach upset, fatigue, changes in the eating pattern, difficulty in sleeping, worsening of chronic health problem. Now many people are complaining they are already maintained, blood sugar level is not now maintained. So there are issues, even blood pressures are also becoming a problem. Increased use of alcohol, tobacco and other substances, that also can be one of the behavioral reaction to this issue. Now, if most of these reactions, we don't call most of these reactions as abnormal reactions. Whenever there is a disaster situation, some of these reactions are bound to be there. If I don't have some of these reactions, probably there is some abnormality. So presence of reaction is not abnormal. That's why instead of symptom, we use the terminology reaction. Symptom comes from disease, but reactions, it is associated with the stress. So we try to classify what are the normal reactions and abnormal reactions. Like to be concerned about family, concerned about health and self-care, bothered about uncertainty, boredom, seeking information. This can be normal reaction in this situation. Yeah. But there are some situations where there is constant preoccupation with the disease, unable to get sleep at all for a number of days, having significant concentrating difficulties because the thought of COVID-19 is coming again and again. There are a lot of panic reaction. I'm getting a lot of phone call because of panic reaction and obsession with the media. Again and again checking the media COVID-19 information. So these can be abnormal reactions. I would like to report one survey, and this is an ongoing survey done by one of the clinical psychologists in UP. It shows that around 60% of the adult report feeling extremely anxious in current scenario. So that means the majority of the people are going to have some emotional reactions, and that is usual. I'm part of one survey that is ongoing. We have collected 154 data till now. Out of this, we tried to assess uh, the various components of the trauma, whether how much intrusion is occurring, intrusion in terms of the thought related to COVID-19 that is creating disturbance in me, the kind of physiological arousal, increased heart rate, sleep disturbance, that is hyperarousal, and how much avoidance, avoidance related to any discussion related to COVID-19, or the avoidance of the thought related to COVID-19. So these are the parameters through which we can understand how much traumatic impact the person is having. And the data shows till date around 32% of the respondent, and the respondents are equally divided into male and female. They belong to 18 to 80 years of age, and proportional distribution is there from rural, suburb, even the metro and the urban areas. So 32% of them has reported they are having moderate to severe to extreme level of hyperarousal. However, the avoidance is there for around 44%, and intrusion is maximum, that is around 65%. As a whole, if you look at the data, the 47% of the total sample are having significant impact, that is equal to acute stress reaction. 47% of the population. So what is going to happen to this 47% of the population? Some people with time will recover. Some people with time will develop some major psychiatric disorders like generalized anxiety disorders, major depressive disorders, panic disorders. So there is a possibility. It depends on, so how much capacity or the resilience factor that we are going to work on, the coping issues that we are going to work on, that is going to decide whether I'll be a case or I'll not be a case. So there are some warning signs that we need to remember, like psychological warning signs: feeling depressed constantly, severe anxiety or overwhelming fear, suicidal ideas. Like day before yesterday, one nursing staff called that she is having suicidal thoughts and suicidal voices. And voices means it's not hallucination. She is imagining some voices are asking her to commit suicide because her husband is in a emergency service also. He is in a different city, can't come, and she is with her daughter in a house. Her parents stay nearby in a 4 BHK flat, but parents are elderly, so parents have said, as you are doing your duty in a hospital, please do not come to my house. She wanted to stay with the parents, but parents have denied. So now she is having what to do. Probably my husband will never be able to come, and I'm going to die. Better to die. So suicidal ideas, feeling panicked when you hear talk of the virus, negative pervasive thoughts, being hopeless, the thing is so bad, the loss of pleasure and interest in activity that you usually enjoy. So these are the warning emotional signs. Uh, there are some warning signs, behavioral symptoms like major sleep problem for more than 3-4 days, reduced appetite with weight loss, low energy, suicidal acts, difficulty in carrying out the daily task, completely avoiding any kind of interaction, obsessively monitoring physical symptoms, whether getting cough, whether getting fever, again and again just checking it. There is no symptom still, maybe 10 times daily I'm checking with the thermometer. Frequent crying spell, pronounced irritability and aggression leading to violent act, conflict with other members of the household, or more consumption of alcohol, drug or medication. So these are the warning signs. When these warning signs are present for 2 to 3 weeks, it is the time to contact a mental health professional. It is the time to contact a mental health professional. And one should not wait for even 2 to 3 weeks if symptoms are very severe. For example, for suicidal thought. There are other psychosocial impact like trafficking. Yeah, human trafficking is probably already it is on rise. It is going to be more. Both female as well as the child labor. The trafficking is going to be more. Displaced migration. That is another issue. And illegal migration is another issue that is going to come. Child marriage. Child marriage, probably incidence of child marriage is going to increase to reduce the burden of the family. Domestic violence, it is already reported that it has increased. It is going to increase more. Education stress is another issue. Like last week, one student who was preparing for NEET exam, he called. Now he is panicking because as the exam schedule is now changed, he is apprehending that there will be more competition. As a result, there is a chance less chance to get clear the NEET exam. So job related competition, all these issues are going to come. Tourism, one of the big loss the tourism industry is going to face. And probably it is going to take 2 to 3 years to cope up at all, if it is possible to cope up. Developmental crisis, any kind of development work, be in the urban, metro, or the rural area. Now the government has declared that for 2 years, no MP is going to get the money of MP lad. So that means no development work is going to be there. So that is also going to create more crisis. Digital addiction is another issue. Now, because of the online classes, even the younger children, uh, 5, 6, 7, 8 years children, now they have been given the digital media. So it is going to be addictive. Increase sexual abuse at workplace. I'm not telling that at home it is going to increase, but at workplace, now people are going to, the bad people are going to ask for more compromises and to get the job, because there is already job crisis and corruption is already there. It is going to be more. So how to reduce the risk? Uh, See, hazard we may not be able to do much, but something we can do, like we can improve our abilities to monitor and focus the hazard, where the infection is more, where is the red zone, where is the orange zone. These issues we can declare that can probably minimize the hazard. Exposure, increase awareness of the hazards. More that can help to minimize the exposure, so that people will not go to the crowded places. People will maintain proper social distancing, the physical distancing, will use the sanitizer and the mask properly. Today only one of my friends who is a professor in a engineering college, he called me. He was telling, as like he used to know that probably if he wears mask, then he will be able to protect himself. He didn't know that the person who is having infection, for that person it is more important to wear mask. Because if I'm infected and if Bimal sir is not infected, I'm not wearing mask, Bimal sir is wearing mask, there is a 70% chance Bimal sir will be infected through me. But if I wear mask and also Bimal sir wear mask, there will be 1.5% chance that Bimal sir will be infected through me. And if Bimal sir doesn't wear mask and I wear mask with COVID-19 infection, there is only 5% chance that he will be infected. See how much important it is for the person who is having infection to wear mask. So you don't know whether I'm a carrier or not, or Devaruti is carrier or not, or Bimal sir is carrier or not. So for others' protection, we need to wear mask. Another is vulnerability, whether we can minimize the vulnerability, that also we need to see. But more importantly, we need to focus more as a mental health professionals, we need to focus more on the capacity building, the psychosocial capacity building. So how to prevent stress reaction? There are some issues like presence of stress reaction, as I said, is not a sign of weakness, but of being human. You are bound to have stress reaction. It is not a sign of weakness. So identify it is normal reaction to abnormal event. The event is abnormal itself. So in such situation, we can say that I'm already stressed. I'm already stressed, and that is normal in this kind of situation. So we can self-talk like this. For information, rely on World Health Organization, Government of India, and respective state government only, and not the media sources. Third, avoid social media for COVID-19 related issues. You don't know which particular information is being fabricated. Even your very reliable friend has sent a particular information through WhatsApp. You may not know. Probably your friend is also under some trap. So avoid any kind of forward. If you find any kind of disturbing post in the Facebook, please report it immediately. That is going to minimize the vulnerability a lot. Restrict your COVID-19 related news reading and listening time. And as I say, like 2 times with tea. সকাল সন্ধ্যে চা খাওয়ার সাথে দুবেলা যদি একটু দেখে নিলাম, fine. And all the members cannot read the news at all or hear the news at all. You assign any one member who can orient hours. Follow the normal routine and eat healthy. That is more important. Otherwise, there will be sense of abnormalization. Even in the lockdown period, don't modify the time of your bathing, you're taking lunch, you're taking dinner, your sleep time. अभी बहुत सारी छुट्टी है, चलो मूवी देख के रात ज्यादा जाग लेते हैं, कल तो सुबह उठने का उतना जल्दी नहीं है. Don't go for that. That is going to create some disturbance in your biological clock. Restrict smoking, drinking, and sleeping pill abuse. That is very much important. And here we talk about the psychological first aid. Psychological first aid is needed for who are dependent on you or your friends. If they are having any kind of issues, you look for what are the issues they are having. Just look for whether they are having sleep problem, concentration problem, intrusion, avoidance, hyperarousal, appetite disturbance. Just look for what are the reactions they are having. Just listen to them. Don't advise them. Just listen and listen and listen. Listen attentively. And finally, you link that whatever the reaction that you are having, those reactions are bound to be there because there is an abnormal event going on. Link the reaction with the abnormal event. And if you are having disturbance, please let us know. You can tell them. If you are having a lot of disturbances, you are having sleep difficulties, just tell me, let me, so that I can be of help. So that is another linking. And third, if there are warning signs, you contact the mental health professionals to reduce your risk. That is another linking. So these are the three things that we need to remember. As I said at the beginning only, if we are part of the solution, we are no more part of the problem. So we need to try to help others. More prevention tips: be in touch with others virtually. As I said, it is more social connectedness, not social distancing. Talk about anything except corona. There are so many things that we can discuss. You can say, I learned a new magic trick today. I taught my granddaughter a new origami skill today. So you can discuss about these issues. Explore forgotten hobbies or wishes or memories. There are a lot of stories. Probably even some of your family members may not know about those stories. Probably you don't know about your children's stories. So share those stories. Okay. Explore forgotten hobbies and wishes and memories. Like, okay, if you probably visited many places, this is the time, this is the opportunity you will start writing about them. And physical exercise. Exercise, that is important. Because it is going to improve our immunity. See, we can't do anything with COVID-19. Only thing that we can do is improving our immunity by following normal routine, through healthful diet, through physical exercise, through relaxation exercise, through social connectiveness, all these issues that are going to secrete some of the neurohormones, and it is being now documented that it is going to improve our immunity. So start with 10 minutes of walking or stretching, whatever it is. Gradually you can increase up to 30 minutes. 30 minutes of physical exercise is needed. And for children it is up to 1 hour, including physical play. Deep abdominal breathing exercise, that is also going to reduce our stress reaction a lot by decreasing the secretion of adrenaline hormone, cortisol hormone. Cortisol hormone reduces our immunity. So decrease of the cortisol hormone can be helpful to increase our immunity. And this abdominal breathing exercise, my suggestion is not to follow Ramdev ji. I don't want to offend anything, but as he addresses a large mass, probably he doesn't explain how to do it properly. But when I inhale, my belly should be out, as if I am inhaling. I'm smelling a flower, my favorite flower. Slowly inhale in a way where the belly is going to go out. Okay, but the way Ramdev Babaji shows, we inhale when our chest muscle becomes tight, our shoulder goes up, that means there is increased tension. That is not going to help. That is going to create more disturbance. So the body muscles, the upper portion of the body should be relaxed, and the belly should be out. And when we are exhaling, you don't force the air to move out. Rather, allow the air to go out. So that's how we can do breathing exercise. 20 minutes of breathing exercise, 10 plus 10 minutes twice daily, can be of much help. Stay calm. You cannot control others to follow what is appropriate. That you need to remember. Why this person is spitting? Why this person is not maintaining physical distancing? Why this person is not wearing mask? You can advise that particular person, but you cannot control everybody. So you just focus on yourself. If someone is panicking, ask that person, are you sure things are going to be that bad here? Look at the positive aspect of lockdown. And now people are appreciating the nature, the clear sky. And 2 days we saw the rainbow here in Kolkata. So there are a lot of positive aspect also that we need to look at it. Remember to continue your regular medicines if you are already taking some medicines. Healthcare staffs and humanitarian workers, whoever are providing support. Self-care, self-care, and self-care. That is one of the most important issues. That means eat at time, sleep at time, share responsibility, don't take the entire burden, and physical as well as the breathing exercise. These are the 5 things that they need to follow, even for us. So this is one model that my students have prepared. My students have prepared this model, and I liked it a lot. We may not have much time to discuss this model. It's already 40 minutes, I think. So there are how to deal with lockdown. Like we have already discussed, cultivate a new hobby or revive an old one. Take an online course. That is another thing that we can do. We have already started. This webinar is part of this. We are having many national level webinar, like day after tomorrow I'll be discussing on interpersonal therapy with the Tamil Nadu Clinical Psychology Association. So engage in regular physical exercise, avoid information overload, reconnect with friends and family, contribute to society, social service, whatever way you can do it. That is going to release a lot of serotonin, and that is going to keep your mood stable. And plan your day the right before and maintain a schedule. Even what to cook tomorrow, plan today only. What are the things that you want to do, plan today only. So all of these are having many benefits. The benefits are written, so I'm not going into the detail of it. I'll show our Facebook page. If you can visit our Facebook page, you'll be able to see those things are there. There are some issues that we can't control. We can't control. Like whether the sanitizers would be available, mask would be available. No, you can't control. But what you can do, you can prepare your own sanitizer, you can prepare your own mask. Whether other people are following the rules of the distancing, that is not under your control. uh, the predicting what will happen tomorrow, if the lockdown is continued till 21st May, so that is not under your hand, that is under the the scientist hand, Modiji's hand. What about the other people's motive? No, that is also not our under control. So there are many issues. If you can think, many of us, we bother much about what other people's are doing. Okay, but focus on what are the things we can control. My positive attitude, turning off the news, finding fun things to do at home, limiting my social media, my kindness and grace, my own social distancing, how I follow various recommendations or not by government. So these are the things that we can control. So if you can focus more on this rather than what we are unable to control. We are having many negative thoughts. This is also prepared by our students, MPhil students. Uh, the common negative thoughts we have identified, like, if I get infected, I'll surely die. Everything has been ruined. Nothing will ever be all right again. There is nothing I can do to help. I am helpless. This is due to my bad luck. So these are the examples of some of the common negative thoughts that we have encountered. So there is a need to, even if I'm having this kind of negative thoughts, I also need to challenge or dispute with those negative thoughts. Like, uh, is the recovery rate as poor as I think? Or am I overestimating how bad the consequences will be? Am I underestimating my ability to cope? It's an epidemic and the world is affected. So this kind of issues and questions on or the evidences that we can look for, and that is going to uh, maintain some helpful to maintain some stability in our mind. Self-care, as we suggested, is the fuel that allows your light to shine brightness. So there are some aspect about the physical health. So do not compromise on your basic needs of healthy food and 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That is needed even for your immunity. Set reminder for your medicines timely if you are already taking, especially for the elderly people and who are having already some psychiatric treatment. This is a good time to quit smoking. If not, restrict the consumption to the same as before. Because this is the time and there is a more likelihood of increase the smoking rate. Do physical exercise. So these are the 4 tips we are recommending again and again. There are some recommendation for our emotional self-care. Do not struggle to get rid of the disturbing thoughts. They will come and go automatically. Those are bound to be there. The intrusion are bound to be there. Don't dwell with them. Don't fight with them. More you fight with them, they are going to come again and again. If I ask you not to think about a yellow elephant, and the thought of yellow elephant is going to come again and again. Practice mindfulness or breathing exercise. That is being helpful. Express the incoming thoughts using any modality. Hey, whatever the anxieties or the concern that you are having, you can write down something, you can draw something, you can do some other activity, some mimicry to express your thoughts or emotions, whatever it is. Stay connected mentally and virtually with your near and dear ones. There, if you are having less number of connections, try to revive some of the old connections and prevent burnout by consulting a mental health professional. If it is taking too much of your energy, don't do it. Many people have died because they have waited um, with COVID-19. It is, we are talking about the mental health issues, not the COVID physical issues. There also, if you wait, there is going to burn out. So if any of us having warning sign of the burnout, the Indian Association of Clinical Psychologists have started a free online support program. The phone number is already given. 08047192224. This can be contacted between 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. There are many other helpline numbers given by NIMHANS, CIP Ranchi, Rehabilitation Council of India. RCI has not given any helpline numbers, but they have given the list of the mental health professionals who can be contacted. But better to follow the helpline numbers. Um, if some of us are elderly, or if we are having family members who are elderly, for them it is a difficult issue. Like yesterday only, one of my known person called me to report that his uncle, who is 72 years old, now he is shouting a lot because he wants to go out of the home. Who is a successful businessman. So avoid stepping out of the house as much as possible. Reach out to community service providers for the essential. Keep helpline numbers handy. So these are the things that we need to remember. Avoid following the corona-related news updates excessively. Restrict news intake once a day for them. Get the updates from a trusted friend or relative once a day. Or restrict corona-related discussions also with the friends. And try to stick to your normal routine as much as possible. Take your regular medication, stroll on your terrace or walk about in your room. If you are used to go for walks, connect with those friends or relatives that you were used to meet regularly via phone calls or messaging apps. And the helpline numbers are also there. If any kind of difficulty, ISCP helpline numbers, senior citizen helpline numbers are there, and those can be contacted. Children, that is another issue. So how to deal with the children and their anxiety? Provide them the factual information, keeping in mind the age. Don't give any false information. Allow free expression of their emotion. Don't go for denial of feeling. Reassure them and correct their misconception if at all there is any. Follow a structured routine for them. That is important. And to have that, I also as a parent need to maintain a structured routine, because you are going to be the model. Try to make a to-do list for them. Divide the household chores among all the family members, including the child. Give some responsibility to them so that they also feel empowered. They also feel responsible. Engage your child in reading books, painting, on other hobbies. Now many online hobby classes are also there. Limit the time of watching news updates about current situation to them. We have seen that some of the parents are sharing the nasty news related to COVID-19 to their children. That has to be stopped. Encourage self-hygiene to them. Many parents are reporting that they are not able to convince their children to wear the mask. But what happens during winter season? If it is chill cold, and your the small child who doesn't want to wear the woolen cap, what do you do with them? So for mask also, it is possible. It is not that impossible. We are probably becoming frustrated, or we are expecting that एक बार बोलने से एक बार बोललेই সে পড়ে নেবে, সেরকমটা নয়. You need to use your skill. Avoid discussing about the casualties happening around. Lastly, keep a check on your own anxiety. Try to remain calm. Your child is going to be calm then. For the workplace, mostly for the healthcare professionals, the important thing is share your responsibility. There are some people who are going to take more risks. There are some people who are going to be at the backside. So share your responsibilities. You are not the hero. You're, as a healthcare providers, healthcare support providers, you are having the most important role. So assert your concern to the authorities if you are having any kind of difficulty with the PPE and other kind of operations. If a co-worker is expressing his or her anxieties to you, validate the feeling. Validate the feeling by telling, like, it is okay to have negative thoughts or feeling of continuous anxiety at the moment, rather than denial of feeling. এত টেনশন কেন আছেন, এত চিন্তার কি আছে, না এরকম না. Validate the feeling. Avoid any advising or denial of feeling. Why becoming so anxious? Or don't go for any philosophical lecture to them. Like this kind of opportunity, this is the kind of opportunity to serve the mankind. You are from noble profession. So don't go for this kind of philosophical lecture to them. And if thoughts of quitting come, motivate yourself by asking, what for I was giving the service till date? To identify values of work. What kind of values? What are the qualities you had about your work? So three things that we need to keep in our mind. One is accept that feeling stress is normal. Even if I'm healthcare professional, reacting to stress doesn't indicate you're becoming weak. Acknowledge that this is a difficult situation. Even situation is new for all of us, which makes it more challenging. And also accept that not everything is under your control. You'll not be able to do everything. Focus on your behaviors which are in your control, not about the outcome of everything. Uh, though the societal survival is in your hand, but you will be able to survive, help the society to survive only if you survive. So finally, the enhancement of well-being, that is important, the positive psychological aspect. It has been found that if you keep hope, that is going to increase our immunity. It is documented. Even if we laugh, make fun, that is also going to improve our immunity. So components of well-being include more positive emotion, less negative emotion, having autonomy and control in one's life. And that's why you give some kind of autonomy to your child also. Nowadays, many teenagers are complaining that now their parents are trying their best to control them. And that is creating more conflict. Having a purpose in your life, focus on your personal growth and development. What are the new things you can learn? Self-acceptance, the way you are, better social relationships. These are the components of well-being. So try to focus on those issues again and again. I have already discussed most of the thing. Focus on appropriate information, limit media exposure, evaluate your and your family members' fear concerns about its appropriateness. Be a model for children. Even we can tell the dadus and didas to model for the children. Relax and distress yourself. Do something new and productive. Distract yourself whenever necessary. Maintain social connections. Share your thoughts and feelings. And don't keep it with yourself. Play indoor. You can play a lot of indoor game. Have a purpose or dream in life. Practice breathing exercise or yoga. So we need to decide whether we want to be in the fear zone or the learning zone or the growth zone. That is the issue. The focus should be on the growth zone. More we are on the growth zone, there is a better chance of survival, both mentally as well as physically, because of our improved immunity issue. So to be in the growth zone, I think of others and see how to help them, do something for them. I make my talent available to those who need them. I live in the present and focus on the future. I am empathetic with myself as well as the others. I thank and appreciate others. I keep a happy emotional state and spread hope. I look for a way to adapt to new changes, and I practice gratitude, patience, relationships, and creativity. So these are the issues related to the growth zone that we need to focus again and again. So what we have learned from this pandemic? What we have learned from this pandemic? We need to focus on this. What are the gain? What are the advantages of pandemic rather than disadvantages? Obviously, the disadvantages are much more. But um, is there any realization that the kind of lifestyle we were following had some luxury in it, or uh, can you focus on, like, our quality of life depends on not how frequently you go to the restaurant, how frequently you wear a dress, how frequently we use a new mobile phone, uh, how frequently we visit to a new place. uh, do those determine our quality of life, or there is something else also that is going to determine our quality of life? That we need to rethink. And the role of collectiveness, here, that is important. As a whole now, I feel that the community has become more collective. We are thinking about others also more frequently than before. And we have also developed many self-help skill. Even our children are probably also learning something new. And also, do we have a nature-based orientation? Are we focusing on the nature also? How to help the nature to protect? So these are the issues that we need to think. So where you can reach if you are having any kind of warning signs or difficulty, or your known people are having any kind of difficulties, you can contact me through my WhatsApp number. This is my WhatsApp number, 9674865935. I might be late in responding, but I'll respond. Or you can email me. Or as I said, we are having a Facebook page related to COVID-19. Our students have developed this. They are running, and there are many videos also are there. You can write in the Facebook COVID-19 mental health challenges. You will find it. There also you can put your queries. We try to respond to those queries. And you can visit Indian Association of Clinical Psychologists website. There are many documents are there. Some of the things that I have used in this slide are also there in the ISP documents. We are having a disaster management committee. We have prepared some of those documents. This is the website. It is not www. Don't give the www. Start with isp.in. Then you will get this website. There are many other websites. Niman's website is already there. Government of India websites are there. So from there you can get the list. With this, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. It's a very nice presentation, and most importantly, very helpful at this moment. Now, just with the audience here also. So obviously, different queries, different questions will come. I request each and every please first do unmute yourself and just place the question here. So please yourself.
The sound was breaking. I could not hear properly. Hello.
ঝিল্লি তুমি একটু করবে একটু hello
Hello.
Hello. So please, if you want to ask any question, please
Right.
Yes, just you can just hello.
There was somebody there who was asking a question.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes. Could you please just unmute yourself and please ask the question?
I can ask a question.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So I have a son who's 12 years old, and this digital addiction you're talking about, he's like, the classes are being conducted online. So when I asked him that why don't you, and we are also working, so I can't really give him much attention because everybody's in separate rooms with their computers, and they're always doing, all of them are either doing classes or something or the other. So when I ask him to read a book, he says the books are over here, I don't have any books over here. But if I read a book from PDF, even then also I'll be looking at the computer. So, and most of the time I find him, playing with his friend or these new games they are having, Minecraft, and thank God he's not gone to PUBG, but the games are there, which he's constantly playing. Now I can't monitor him so much because since we are also very busy with our work. In that case, even in drawing, painting, that also doesn't seem to fascinate him anymore. And I really don't know how to handle children. I mean, with him especially. So, because I can't give him so much time, because as a working mother, we have to handle housework, we have to handle the office work. So, how do we motivate him? And I don't know really. If you could give me any advice in that
What is
manner.
his age now?
He's 12 years old, 12 and a half,
Okay.
13. Will be 13 soon.
So during adolescence, now the child is having his own autonomy. It's very difficult to motivate, but to model. Uh, though we are having difficulty with our time, but we also probably can start doing something. If you are getting 15 minutes of the time, then if you are, for example, I know one family where they are having at night, when the father is a school teacher, mother is homemaker, but father is into a lot of administration, so he is very much busy till late night. So even if it is 10 p.m., he makes it a practice. They will read some book together. They will read a book, maybe one page or two books of that book.
Okay.
And now, even for his children, it has become a part of the habit. They don't keep it as an exception. It is the normal routine practice. Another friend where both the parents are like working and having two kids. One kid is 12 years, another is 8 years. What they do at the end of the day, after they take the dinner a bit early by 9 o'clock, at 9:30, they dance together. None of
Wonderful.
them are dancer. None of them are dancer. None of them dance, can dance, but they dance together for half an hour. That is part of the physical exercise, enjoyment, sharing. It releases a lot of cortisol
Mm.
as well as endorphin. So see, when we do some common activity rather than just shasun kora, you do this, don't do this, or giving a lot of advice. If you do some common activities that is going to share some kind of pleasure with our kid, then kids are going to listen to us. We need to learn to listen to them first, and then they will listen.
Yes, sir.
Another
Thank
issue
you.
is we also don't give our children autonomy. For example, okay, we'll be going for a birthday party of your friends. So these are the dresses. What which one you would prefer? হ্যাঁ, এটা করতে পারলে হয়তো ভালো হয়। সেটা না করে বলবি, I think this
Mm.
dress will suit you more, so you wear this. Mama, I don't like this dress, but this I know your
Absolutely.
what is going to be better for you. So we impose everything onto them. As a result, we again and again show them that I don't respect you. When I don't show that I respect him, how come he is going to that I respect you? So do some common activities, common sharing, some cuddling. Even with 12, 13 years old boy, the cuddling can be done. Uh, to balish choda chodi, rather than chilla mille. Where I also like a child rather than a mom. So then things are
Yeah.
going to be much better.
Okay. All right. Is there any other questions from?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. My question is, sometimes it becomes very difficult. In fact, in my extended family or in my own family, I've seen old people, my father and other people who are like my uncle and all. So for them, it has become very, very difficult because they are all in their retired life. And for them, going out on a daily basis is something which adds to which adds color to their life on a daily basis. And even though there is this lockdown going on, and we are repeatedly trying to make them understand that you don't need to do this, you should not go out and do this or do that, but um, they are having this reactions which are quite differential. In some cases, I'm seeing that they are becoming very, very frustrated with this entire lockdown period. And for others, it is like, oh, it's okay, it's all right, it doesn't matter, it will be fine. So they are just going on doing the same thing again and again. And that is becoming a problem because we all of us, we know the seriousness of this pandemic. So do you have any advice, sir?
What happens to our elderly? As we know that elderly people are more vulnerable, and so
Yes.
obviously we are also anxious. And
Yes.
what is going to happen because of our increased anxiety? We are going to be in a more advising mode again and again. When my father is going out, every time I'm telling, be careful, be careful, be careful. Why are you going out? Okay. So that means somehow they also start having a feeling that my autonomy is now being taken care of. My understanding, my intelligence, it might be wrong. The way they are thinking, that might be wrong. But they imagine, they feel that my issues, my concerns are not being taken care of.
Mhm.
As a result, they are going to express more irritability if we go for frequent advising.
Right.
So maybe once in a week, if we can sit together, what are the do's and don'ts? What are the things we need to follow? What are the things we don't need to follow? What are the exceptions? Let them share each other's feeling. What are the exemption that I want? If my father is asking for some exemption, ki I need to go every day outside, I can ask him, okay, and that is also very much important. But now people are telling, okay, this is going to create a problem. Even if you look at now, the 2 doctors have died. Uh, in such situation, what are the what are the other things that you can do to protect yourself? So if you start go more on the questioning mode rather than advising mode, they will be more into the listening part. For example, okay, like, father, like, you want to go out, that is fine. You are going out for last 25 years, so it might be very much difficult state for you to adjust to stay at the house. But that is going to create more risk also, as per the information. Do you have any opinion about that? Do you contradict that? And obviously they would say, no, 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 I'm not going to contradict that, but nothing is going to happen. Yeah, probably nothing is going to happen. But there is a chance factor or not. Is there any other way you can cope up with not going outside? Can I help you in some other way where you don't need to go outside, but you can stay at home, so that there is a minimum chance, minimum vulnerability. So if we can engage in this kind of dialogue, probably our parents would be, or the elderly people will be in a listening mode. So these are the things that can be there. And there are many other suggestions that I have. And there is a video available in my Facebook page. Or if you go to the Facebook page of Khas Khobor, um, there is a Facebook page. So they are having a video on this, how to deal with this elderly people, where I have given some suggestion. You can go and listen to that video. That might be of help. Given some practical suggestions there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
বলুন স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, বলছি আমার একটা প্রশ্ন আছে, সেটা হচ্ছে practically just I convert my one room as my office, just exactly same as before. I am entering my office room in my house at 9 o'clock, and then I leave this office room at 6 p.m. Doing this process, and then I going to my other bedroom to meet my family. 2 members are there, doing everything normal. But still, I am just observing that my blood sugar level is going increasing. I'm, even though I am a diabetic patient, but nowadays the fasting is coming more than 170 like this, and PV is coming more than 300. I'm taking medicine, but still I couldn't find any remedy how to control this one at this moment. I'm doing
Sir,
jogging also at home also.
Yes, sir. As I said, because of the stress, whether I perceive stress or not, this is a stressful situation. And this is a stressful situation and is going to have some negative impact on our health system if you are having pre-existing disease. So only taking care of diabetes might not be helpful here. We need to take care of the other issues, some of the things we have already shared. We need to have physical exercise. Now, because many people are working from home, so probably we are not doing a lot of physical exercise.
Yeah, yeah.
So at least 20 to 30 minutes of physical exercise we need to devote. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Second is, as breathing exercise or relaxation exercise, there are many YouTube program are there on relaxation exercise like progressive muscle relaxation. If you type in the YouTube, you will get number of it. So depending upon your time permission from 10 to 90 minutes, there are many programs. So you can choose any one of it. So that can be possible. In recent future, I am also going to upload one relaxation script in Bengali as well as English, so that people also can refer to that. So any program that you can refer that is going to be helpful in reduction your stress hormone. And I'm sure that you are aware about helpful diet. ঘরে থাকলে অনেক সময় যেটা হয় খাবারটাও তো সেইভাবে বেশি হয়ে যায়. So I'm sure you are aware about helpful diet or balanced diet. So if there is any kind of deviation, try to restrict yourself from the deviation, where you can have everything, but in a balanced way. Even people with diabetes can have sweet, but have to compromise with other carbohydrate intake like rice or chapati. So these are the things, but physical activity has to increase, and the stress level, that is relaxation exercise, that can be of much help, and increase the interaction with the family members and the friends, and not only the official work. Official work is a burden. For example, I'm giving this, having this conversation with Adamas University. This is less stressful. If I had to give the same program with my departmental colleague or faculty members, would have been more stressful, because that is part of the routine aspect. Anything routine, anything monotonous, that is going to be more stressful. Though it is more demanding from my part, there is more fear of negative evaluation, but it is in a way less stressful because it is not part of the monotonous activity. Rather, it is a kind of the use stress, the positive activity. So sometimes breaking the monotony is also important. Like we do every Saturday evening, we are having a WhatsApp group of school friend, primary school friend. So every Saturday 9:30 to 11, we are having Zoom interaction. And now we are the university students, we have started every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Zoom interaction. So we are doing such activities. Otherwise, it is very difficult to cope up with. Am I clear, sir?
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. It's very clear, yes.
And if it is not controlled, please talk to your doctor through telemedicine if there is anything to be done.
Please may I ask a question, and Dr. Roy? I'm Dean School of Education.
Okay.
As discussed by Professor Bimal Sharkar, we have been trying to, overcome this situation as much as possible by staying at home. But the thing is that so much of work pressure and so many meetings and classes and all this, we are actually sitting on the chair only. So very little time to sleep or read to coordinate the entire process. Now that is become very, we are stressed, tensed,
right.
and at the same time, physical exercise, nothing. So what is the way out just to be a little bit of happy and less stressful?
The only problem is, I read a story. The story was written by one of the very popular clinical psychologist of Kolkata. He is no more. Shogoto sir, written by his father. He belonged to Borisal, Bangladesh, and he lost his father when he was 6-7 years old. And he has written in his biography, they had a very difficult life. He used to get some money from the school authority, and what his mother used to do, like every month when the money is coming to the hand, the mother used to write down the hisab, expenditure. In the expenditure, she used to write down rice this much, oil this much, sugar this much, kerosene of this amount, and saving of this amount. So his father asked, okay, why mom, like, so whatever the leftover money would be, that is the part of the saving, no? So why you are writing under the column of cost, okay, this is our saving is also as cost. So mother told, see, we need to pre-plan our saving. Saving is also a kind of expenditure. That means you are not going to use for any other thing. You are only going to use it for the the saving purpose. So that's why that is to be considered as cost rather than saving. If anything beyond, after keeping the saving part, if anything more is there, and that is the bonus. So for our also, we need to have our saving. We need to pre-plan our saving. We can't compromise there at all. We need to pre-plan our saving. Okay, this is the time I need to invest for this. This is the time I need to invest for this. যতটা টাইম বাঁচলো তারপরে আমরা এটা করবো, এটা করলে কিন্তু আমরা পেরে উঠবো না। That's why emphasizing again and again need to have a routine time. Otherwise, it is going to create more disturbances slowly in ourselves. So walking at least for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever way it is possible. Like usually my walking time now is 5 to 6 p.m. And now it is already near about 5:30, so I'll not be able to do it. But I know I'm going to go to the roof again. At least for 10 minutes, I'll go for a walk. So, or in the evening time, it is not possible. Maybe after 8 o'clock, I'll go and go for a walk. But I need to do it. But when we maintain a particular time, that works as a reminder, that works as a motivation. Otherwise, we need to force ourselves to do something. Even as in the home, like every day we don't need to go to the hospital now. I'm going twice in a week. So rest of the day, one of my favorite activities is cooking. So I like cooking a lot. So I do cooking when I'm teaching class. Many a times I don't keep the video on. My students are not aware that I tell them I'm not going to keep the video on, but actually I'm doing the cooking part or some other thing. So we need to manage uh, somehow to engage ourselves. Otherwise, it is difficult.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Hmm.
Can I ask a question?
I can't hear. It's breaking.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Hello.
Yeah, tell your name.
I'm Department of Geography at Adamas University. I'm assistant professor there at Adamas University.
Okay, madam.
So actually, sir, hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
It's
Sir,
breaking.
actually, sir, I belong. Is it fine now? Hello.
Tell.
Hello. Am I audible?
Audible.
So actually, sir, I belong to a business family, a middle class business family. So like what happened for the middle class family, basically all the persons who are working outside, because my entire family, the males are engaged in the business activity. So what's happening, like in the for the first lockdown, it was okay, it was acceptable that yes, sir, it's fine because of this coronavirus situation that everything is locked down, everyone is facing the economic crisis, everyone is like in a tough situation. So somehow the family was like, it was somehow they were stable. They were like managed to do their regular activities, their exercises, their but what is happening with this it's the lockdown, like the first extension, second extension to 3rd May, and now there is a news like another extension can be there up to 19th May for the West Bengal especially. So what I'm observing then slowly the like behavior of the male persons of the families are like it's converting towards a more ruder one. Like they are like showing their anger in small petty things, or like they are not that type. I know that, but like something is changing. How? But for the business family, which is completely dependent on the daily basis, it's really tough for them to like spend their time for like it's 24 hours in a single house. So how they can adjust with the situation, and when they're like really young, between 30 to 40.
it's very difficult. It's very difficult. As I said, the chronicity of the issue is going to create more problem, and all of us are going to have some kind of reaction. Where I'm having the secondary crisis, like now the economy loss, job loss, business loss, and the secondary
Exactly.
crisis. This secondary crisis is going to take the toll of us. So that is a very difficult situation. Even I personally don't have much answer. I was just telling somebody few days back, like many like 4 crore people are going to lose their job. So if they come to us and if they ask what kind of psychological support that we can provide, so that is a very difficult issue for us. So here, once they are showing some kind of irritability, that is also normal reactions. Don't abnormalize that. Rather, normalizing it by telling that yeah, the way the situation is going on, it's really difficult for you. Hmm. So but we'll fight together. So that hope only we can generate. We'll fight together. It is difficult, whatever way it will come. Let us assume that we are going to start from the beginning. We didn't have anything, so we'll fight together again. The way we have become a nation, and now the way we have uh, done everything. So again, we'll start from the beginning. So we need to show the togetherness. That is the only thing that we are having, and we need to tell them, okay, but continue with the physical exercise. This emotionality, this irritability will be there, but continue with the routine activities, the relaxation, the breathing exercise, physical exercise. That is not going to allow to increase your stress level much. But whatever some of the obvious stresses, those are going to be there. So these are the only thing that I can tell. I can't tell much about it, but the future is very difficult. We don't know how much suicidality is going to increase because of this, not because of COVID-19, but due to the secondary crisis that is going to create. And as a mental health professionals, we need to have some answer. We need to have some answer. Here, the administration, the government organizations are having a lot of responsibilities, and they need to have a lot of planning. I don't know how much they are listening to the other experts. We don't know, but they can do a lot of things in these issues.
So what adverse impact, like I'm observing, like everyone is losing their weight, like in spite of their good routine of fooding habits, because when they were like working, they can skip their food, they were like busy not having food. This kind of complaint we can hear every day. But now they have on time breakfast, on time lunch, on time snacks, on time dinner. In spite of them, like in last 21 to 30 days, someone has lost more than 5 kg, someone is losing 3 kg, someone has lost somewhere around 8 kgs.
Are they
So it's
happy
like
about the weight loss, or they are not happy about this weight loss?
so, okay, they are happy
Yes.
about this weight loss,
Sometimes
but
if they were overweight, and sometimes having a proper routine actually is helpful in reduction of the weight. Many a times we increase our weight because we don't maintain a particular routine. Okay, so maintenance of a particular routine. So we need to see whether this reduction is healthy or unhealthy weight reduction.
till date it's healthy.
If
They
yeah,
are on an
if
optimum
there is a
level.
decreased appetite, If there is decreased appetite and because of decreased appetite weight reduction is there, then we need to be careful. But if there is no decrease of appetite but the weight reduction is there up to a limit, then it might be a good sign also.
Then it's good sign, I guess.
It might be a good sign if there is no other physical issues. For example, diabetes. If people, Bimal sir would be able to tell. So if there is increased glucose level because of more consumption of the carbohydrate related food, so that can cause reduction of weight. So whether if there is any kind of a history of diabetes in the family, that also we need to look for.
Okay, thank you,
If
sir.
there is no health issue, then it may not be a bad sign. As I said, no, there are some advantages also of COVID-19.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
So what should we do now?
Okay, is there anybody else? Any of the students would like to ask anything? This is your opportunity. I can see a number of my students over here. Shubham.
Student can express their experience during this lockdown at home. How
Yes.
they expressed in this situation.
Shubham, you can say something.
Hello.
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 Hello. We are able to hear you.
So I was, my parents were tested positive and I was in isolation for the past 3 weeks.
Okay.
During that time, I saw people like panicking. I mean, my neighbors were panicking really bad, but at the same time, when they are also roaming around. I mean, they weren't taking it seriously a day or two before, but when it happened, they were really panicking. So what is the shift like? How are
See,
people?
you are having first-hand experience about COVID-19. So you'll be in a better state to orient us about what kind of psychological issues are going on, where you identify yourself at high risk, or we witness people in your family members who are having positive. So if you can orient us about this.
Shubham, please share your experiences. Shubham, share your experiences.
Ma'am, hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you. You are audible, Shubham.
So when I was in isolation, at first when like first day was really tough, like tough in the sense I didn't even got to think about much about this COVID or much, because my dad's condition was really serious. But in the meantime, there were really problems with other people, like other people, neighbors, and along with it, there were difficulties to get hospitals. So, like, how do we cope? Like, we were in much better condition because it was much early phase when my dad was detected. But right now, the condition seems much worse. And when I was in isolation, I saw two families, like two families came and their relatives died. So.
So what are the effects which you are having? I mean, after seeing all this, what are you feeling?
I don't know. I mean, it's just I'm little bit scared. Like I know things might fall apart anytime, and that's it.
Yeah.
So how do we do
This,
this?
yeah. Shubham, thank you for sharing this issue. And probably if I was in your situation, I would have been scared. Any of us in this group, if any of us would have been in your situation, would have been scared. The scared is bound to be there, feeling scared, feeling fearful, feeling apprehensive. Uh, so that is not, uh, we don't suggest anything to do with this. Rather, to continue with the routine activities, to take the helpful role, the kind of experience you had. With this experience, if you can guide somebody, help somebody, motivate somebody, that is going to be much more helpful for you. As I said, no, when we are part of the solution, we are no more part of the problem. But don't try to fight with your um, problem that you are experiencing, because those are the normal reactions. Those are normal reactions. These are not nothing to do with feeling of weakness, becoming weak, becoming nervous. These are part of the experiences. Those are going to be there. And probably uh, in this group you are one of those few persons who would be more helpful in guiding us what are the psychological issues that you need to look for more. So if someday, if you don't mind, I would like to have some interaction with you, if you allow me.
Yes, sir.
And if you
We
can
can arrange
just
for that. Yes.
um,
Mm.
yeah,
And
so that we can do it.
due to this lockdown and COVID-19, due to this pandemic, I'm seeing I'm facing serious problems to study, and along with this online classes, I'm really having problems to study and to concentrate. So how do I deal with it? I mean, this there have been a sudden shift in the routine.
Yeah,
Very good
yeah,
question.
So
yeah.
how?
As if you can if you can remember the survey that we are doing, no, 47% of the people who are having significant trauma reactions. 47% of the people. That means around half of the people now will have some amount of difficulty in their concentration, sleep, appetite, their emotion. uh, this is going to be there. Even some of us, even some of my colleagues have reported, though they are in the field of these mental health professions, they have reported they are having real difficulty with this. The disaster management committee that now I'm representing of Indian Association of Clinical Psychologists, one of the members of the disaster management committee, because he is having training in this, after working for few days, we are preparing various modules for government of India. After working for few days, then he refused to continue with his activities because he told that he is having a lot of difficulties to discuss all these issues. So even trained mental health professionals who are having
Mm.
training in this kind of disaster scenario, they are also facing difficulties. So as a common man, common students, it is obvious that we will have difficulties. So it is the time that is going to be much help. So thank you that you shared your feeling in this group. Is very difficult. You have showed a lot of courage, um, because now COVID-19 is having a lot of stigma, and you have showed us that how to break the stigma. And I'm sure that um, you are, whatever the feeling, the emotion that you are having, you are sharing with somebody. If you can contact to your department with whosoever you are comfortable with, you can discuss your feeling, or you can discuss with me also. uh, Probably they or we together will be able to guide you how to deal with it. Yeah. But again, try to maintain the normal routine as much as possible. And many things might not be normal, but whatever the thing that we can do, we can control, try to control. try to do it. Concentration is not in your hand, but your study habit, sitting with the books, is in your hand. Probably if you sit with the books and try to read something, maybe 5% of the time you will be able to concentrate. 95% of the time you will get distracted. That is normal. But continue with the habit, the activity. Then it will increase gradually to 5% to 10% to 20%. It will increase. And second, start doing some physical exercise at home or at the roof, wherever it is possible. Whatever minimum time you can invest, and start the breathing exercise. Initially, it will be difficult. You will be more distracted. So that is also normal because you are having first-hand experience. Uh, and if you are having the warning sign, then I'll suggest you can discuss with any of the faculty members that you are having. Jilli madam is there, Devaruti madam is there, Devaruti madam is also trained clinical psychologist. You can discuss with them, and they will teach you some of the things that will be helpful to deal with this. তাছাড়া আমরা সবাই আছি।
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
So, on the matter of fact, we have like all of us have given us an hour of our time, hour maybe more, will be extending if required. But we've all given a certain space, so like anybody can come and whoever has some issues can always contact us. So if this is not only for our students, it's also for other students, even for faculties if required. So it's there. Like as mental health professionals, is the most it's the least we could do. So it's there, and so you are there. So if, in case we also need your help, definitely we know where to go. So yeah,
we should fight this
right,
together.
fight together. That's
we
absolutely
shall overcome
right. Absolutely
do it.
right. So if there's no other questions, it's already 5:40, and sir's time needs his walk also. So Vimal sir,
I'm having a 6-month-old daughter. So if
I
I
know.
don't wake her, she would start crying.
Right, Vimal sir,
Yes.
would we like to conclude?
She demands, yeah.
So there is no question, I think. And in future also, we are going to just conduct this kind of also
Right.
more. And we are really, really very happy and grateful to Dr. Prasanta Kumar Roy. Professor is always with us. Anytime, several times also, he has given support much to us.
Absolutely.
So in future also, we'll be approaching to him also. And this time, really, this kind of activity is very important to us, because we are getting directionless what to do, what we'll do in the future. These things are very helpful for such kind of discussion. Not only it is academic value is there, but after all, the well-beingness value is more here we can find. So with this talk, and everybody, thanking you very much, everybody, for joining very actively in this session.
Absolutely.
And in future also, we'll be approaching to all of you. And there is a scope. Be safe, be healthy, and be well-being also. Mentally happy, physically happy, everything. And try to take the as far as possible pleasure at home. Sometimes also I used to take different pleasure, singing and those things, everything is here. So in this way, be safe, be healthy, and pleased and happy. So shall I now here end, sir, Professor, with your permission?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So here now we will just stop our discussion now. Thank you, everybody, again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.